Picture this: sold out arenas, blinding paparazzi flashes, and a bank account most of us can't even fathom. That's the daily reality for our girl, Sasha, a wildly popular, insanely wealthy pop star who seemingly has it all. But living directly in that blinding spotlight, it can cast a pretty dark, dangerous shadow. Today, in this explainer, we are unpacking a seriously chaotic narrative of fame, fear, and ultimate betrayal. We're talking a mysterious stalker, a highly toxic inner circle, and a stoic bodyguard who literally flips Sasha's world upside down. It's an absolute roller coaster of trust and deception, so let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this by taking a hard look at Sasha's supposedly glamorous inner circle, starting with her absolute disaster of a boyfriend, Theo. So they're heading to an exclusive island party. Sasha assumes they're taking a yacht. Instead, Theo drags her to a helicopter pad. Now, Sasha has a severe, crippling phobia of heights, and she reminds him of this. And what does Theo do? He calls her a drama queen, tells her she's being melodramatic, and literally tells her to get over it. He completely dismisses a very real fear, setting himself up immediately as the ultimate toxic jerk. I mean, no way, right? Sasha actually has the guts to storm off and walk back to the city alone, which, as it turns out, triggers the inciting incident of our entire story.
Because on that solo walk home, things get super creepy fast. She realizes there's this hooded figure trailing her in the shadows. And Sasha, being the fearless icon she claims to be, doesn't just run away. She actually confronts him, high stiletto in hand, ready to fight. But the guy just chucks a magazine at her and bolts. And you guys, this wasn't just some random tabloid. It was a magazine with Sasha on the cover, completely defaced with a terrifying death threat drawn all over her face. This right here, this is the moment the whole game changes. The threats don't stop. They keep pouring in over the weekend. Because of this escalating danger, her super wealthy parents finally step in and, completely against Sasha's will, hire hardcore professional protection.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute night and day contrast between the two guys now orbiting Sasha's life. On the left side, we've got Theo. We already know he's dismissive, but get this. Later on, we find out he literally screams and runs away from tiny spiders, throws massive public temper tantrums, and surprise, surprise, he cheats on her. Yikes. But then, look at the right side. Enter Damon, the new bodyguard. Sasha is instantly taken aback by how young, attractive, and completely stoic he is. On his literal first day, a stray baseball comes flying straight at Sasha's head, and Damon, he effortlessly catches it bare-handed, just snaps it out of the air. Later, when Theo tries to act tough and get aggressive, Damon drops him to the ground like it's nothing and literally tosses Theo away like a piece of paper to protect Sasha. It is glorious.
But let me spill the tea on just how intensely Damon takes his job. I mean, this guy is next-level vigilant, maybe a little too vigilant for a teenage pop star navigating high school. Picture this. Sasha's best friend, Tessa, brings Sasha her favorite morning coffee. Sweet, right? Well, before Sasha can even grab the cup, Damon snatches it, aggressively sniffs it, takes a sip, waits a few agonizing seconds, and then just deadbans clear before handing it back. He is literally taste testing her Starbucks for poison in the middle of a high school hallway. Tessa is, understandably, absolutely furious. Damon's response? He's just doing his job. Ice cold.
So yeah, while Damon's dedication is impressive, it rapidly turns into a total nightmare for Sasha's privacy. His hypervigilance starts completely ruining her life and her career. He shadows her every single second at school, like standing directly behind her desk during class. At home, he stands outside her bedroom door all night long. Does the guy even sleep? Nobody knows. At a recording studio, he nearly snaps the arm of a harmless fan who just wanted an autograph. But the absolute breaking point? During a massive concert, some fans try to climb on stage. Instead of just pushing them back, Damon literally scoops Sasha up and carries her off the stage right in the middle of her performance. Her career is taking a massive hit, she has zero personal life, so she turns to her bestie, Tessa, for an escape plan. And Tessa comes up with this brilliantly unhinged, multi-step sequence to test Damon's patience and force him to quit. I absolutely love this step-by-step breakdown of her antics. It is hilarious. Step 1, disturb his sleep with an impossible 4 a.m. coffee run. Step 2, physically exhaust the guy by going on an extreme mall shopping spree where he's basically a human pack mule. Step 3, fake a physical injury so he has to carry her on top of all the bags. And step 4, the grand finale, just completely ditch him through a bathroom window to prove he's legally bad at his job. Sasha, of course, executes this plan flawlessly.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer calculated absurdity of that very first step. It is 4 a.m., and Sasha demands this. in iced venti, caramel macchiato, exactly 6 shots of mocha, highly specific, frankly annoying fractions of whole and almond milk, medium whip, and a caramel drizzle in the shape of a rose. Oh, and a biodegradable cup with a pink straw. She is intentionally setting him up to fail, but Damon, the guy, operates like an unstoppable cyborg. He leaves and comes back shortly after with that exact impossible drink. He survives the massive shopping spree, carries her like a literal tank when she fakes the ankle injury, and she actually has to climb out of a gross bathroom window just to get 5 minutes apiece.
So she escapes Demon, finally dumps that cheating loser Theo, and hits a local club to blow off some steam. But obviously, Damon tracks her down. And you know what? It only took one number. One single romantic slow dance for all that icy, frustrating tension between Sasha and Damon to just completely melt away. Out on the dance floor, he pulls her in close, they have this intense eye contact, and for the very first time, his robotic facade actually breaks. He cracks a faint smile and finally calls her by her first name. Game changer, for sure.
But while the romance is heating up, we need to look at this timeline because the danger is escalating rapidly. The stalker is getting way, way bolder. We started with that defaced magazine on day 1, right? Just a warning. But by day 7, Sasha comes home to find a literal box of live rats released inside her bedroom with another threatening note. Someone is actively breaking into her inner sanctum. It's terrifying. But despite this massive danger, Sasha absolutely refuses to cancel her biggest upcoming mega concert in Paris. Damon finally agrees to let her go, but only with a strict condition. They have to share a hotel room so he can keep a 24/7 watch on her. The threat level here is at an absolute maximum.
So they're in Paris, sharing this hotel room, Damon is sleeping on the couch, and Sasha happens to catch a glimpse of a photo in his open wallet. It's a picture of a beautiful girl. Immediately, Sasha feels this sharp, undeniable pang of jealousy. Who is she? Well, things get chaotic before she can ask. At her concert that night, the hooded figure actually shows up in the crowd, aiming something directly at her. Damon has to carry her off stage yet again. The next morning, after the dust settles and Damon is tenderly making sure she's okay, Sasha finally asks about the girl in the photo. And wow, talk about an emotional gut punch. Damon reveals she isn't an ex-girlfriend, it's his late sister. They grew up in an orphanage together, and he actually became a bodyguard because he felt he failed to protect her. And the kicker? It was his sister's lifelong dream to go to Paris and see the Eiffel Tower. Let's move to Patani and see how this builds into an absolutely massive character moment for Sasha. Remember her paralyzing fear of heights on that helicopter pad with Theo? Hearing about Damon's sister gives Sasha this incredible burst of bravery. She insists, right then and there, that they go to the top of the Eiffel Tower to honor his sister's memory. When they get up there, Sasha is predictably terrified. But Damon steps in, wraps his arms firmly around her waist, tells her he's got her, and just asks, "Do you trust me?" She says yes, opens her eyes, and finally takes in this glittering, gorgeous city. It's this perfect moment of absolute safety. So safe, in fact, that she looks at him and asks if he's ever fallen for a client. But Damon, snapping right back into strict professional mode, coldly tells her he can't do his job if he's emotionally involved. Ouch. Romantic tension completely crushed.
A week later, they're back home, and the danger reaches its absolute terrifying climax. Sasha goes to the school library to study with Tessa, but Tessa is nowhere to be found. Damon, as always, is standing guard by the door. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Damon screams for Sasha to look out. This massive, ridiculously heavy wooden bookshelf is crashing down, aiming directly for her. Without even a second of hesitation, Damon leaps forward, completely throwing his own safety out the window. He violently shoves Sasha out of the way and takes the full, crushing weight of that bookshelf directly onto himself. It's brutal. He's severely injured and ends up stuck in a hospital bed for an entire week.
Sasha is frantic. Ignoring her parents begging her to stay hidden, she visits him in that hospital every single day. The tension here is just palpable. Think about it. The stalker went from drawing on magazines to dumping live rats to literally attempting murder in a high school library. And the authorities still haven't caught the hooded figure. So Sasha is sitting alone in the hospital waiting area, exhausted, when her best friend Tessa finally shows up to comfort her, holding 2 cups of Sasha's favorite coffee. But just as Sasha reaches out to take a comforting sip, the entire narrative gets flipped completely upside down.
A hand shoots out from nowhere and violently slaps the coffee cup across the room. It's Damon, and he's not alone. He's got a police officer right beside him who immediately grabs Tessa and slaps handcuffs on her. Talk about a plot twist.
Damon reveals that he had been secretly, quietly studying Tessa for weeks, and on the day of the library incident, he actually saw her sneak in through the back door right before the bookshelf fell. Tessa was the hooded stalker all along. And, in this brilliant full-circle callback to his very first day on the job, Damon looks down at the spilled latte on the hospital floor and delivers this iconic line, "I'm sure your coffee is poison too."
So the crucial point is understanding why in the world a best friend would do something this unhinged. Well, the second she's caught, Tessa drops the supportive bestie act and turns into an absolute monster. Her villain monologue reveals that it all boiled down to this deep, festering, toxic envy. She absolutely hated Sasha. Why? Because Sasha had literally everything Tessa wanted: the incredible beauty, the natural singing talent, the immense wealth, the worldwide fame. She even coveted Sasha's terrible ex-boyfriend Theo. Tessa angrily confesses she would have gotten rid of Sasha way sooner if her, quote, stupid bodyguard hadn't been such a relentless pain in her side. And with that, Tessa is promptly dragged away by the police.
With the threat finally neutralized and Tessa officially behind bars, the dust starts to settle in that fluorescent hospital waiting room. Damon pulls Sasha into this tight, desperate hug just to physically confirm she's okay. But then, he drops one final bombshell on her. He looks at her and tells her he's officially quitting his job as her bodyguard. Sasha's stunned, but Damon explains that he just can no longer fight his feelings for her, and it violently breaks his personal code to mix business with his heart. Well, Sasha, never missing a beat, looks right back at him and asks, "If I fire you right now, will you be my boyfriend instead?" Damon doesn't even use words to answer. He just grabs her face and kisses her, effectively handing in his resignation and sealing their brand new relationship.
And that brings us to the end of this absolutely wild recap. What a ride, right? We've unpacked a story that leaves us with a truly fascinating question. What actually happens when the person you trust most in the world turns out to be your biggest threat, and the person you hired to annoyingly guard your every move turns out to be the absolute love of your life? It's a pretty potent reminder that in the glitzy world of fame and fortune, things are rarely what they seem, and true protection only comes from the people who are genuinely willing to take the fall for you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning the motives of everyone in the spotlight.